make sure that you're putting your heart and your soul into anything that you do. You're going to win, you're going to lose, but I think the most important thing is to just keep going.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Paul Tully with the FYI podcast. Another great episode coming up. I am here with Scott Rocco. He's a musician out of New York. He's also an actor and a writer. I've known Scott for a little while, and I'm really excited. You know, we've known each other, but we actually don't know a lot about each other's background. And, you know, I just seen him gig a few times here in LA. He's an incredible talent, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. Scott, welcome, man.
Thank you. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let me put the pressure on. This is your first podcast ever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. Is it nerve-wracking?
It's a bit of a adrenaline rush.
Nice.
I equate nerves with adrenaline.
Nice. Yes, sir. Yeah. So
Yeah.
look, I know you as a musician.
Right.
You're incredible. That's why I wanted to bring you on. I
Thank
just
you.
saw you gig, I think, week and a half ago, and that really made me inspire me to be like, man, let me see if Scotty wants to come on, man, the podcast. I kind of been seeing your grind for the last couple years, and I always enjoy. I think this is the third time I've seen you perform, and it's really great work. But what I didn't know until right now is that you're also an actor and a writer.
Yes.
Makes sense. It's LA. Everybody out here is a.
Everybody wears a lot of hats.
That's right. So what's your biggest passion? Is it equally, or is it music?
It's such a really good question. I've contemplated that for so long, because you grow as a person, you grow as an artist throughout the years. I think it's music.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's maybe I'm being a bit biased here, but I feel like it's the highest art form.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I was just talking to you about this at your gig.
Yes, we were.
Yeah. It was, by the way, it was a toy drive that you did as well. Had the United States Marine Corps there, and you were collecting toys for the Marines to do. It was really awesome, man. Thank you for doing that, especially around Christmas. That's amazing. So
thank you.
But yeah, I think I was talking to you about that. I admire musicians so much. I feel like dancers are probably the most disciplined art form, in my opinion, like with the working out and stretching and taking care of the instrument and the bodies. Mm-hmm. But to me, music, I mean, I love acting, and I love, being a filmmaker. But I feel like with music, it's just so ingrained in everyday life for all of us, whether we're at the gym, whether it's a wedding, a funeral. I mean, for every event, it's music's there, Not necessarily a movie or a film or a TV show. Not to take away. I mean, I love the art form that I belong to, but or I work in. But I feel like music is just such a huge part of everybody's life. Mm-hmm. So I definitely commend what you do. And the discipline of learning an instrument. Like I've tried. I played saxophone.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if I should say I played saxophone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a real quick, ridiculous story for you, but a pretty good metaphor to life about fake it till you make it.
Okay.
I played saxophone for 1 year in junior high.
Right.
So it was our big concert. All of our families were there. My dad, my grandma, everybody came, my mom. It was like this big deal. It was my first concert. I remember I was in 6th grade. And I remember I don't know what it's called, the teacher, the band with it was our teacher, but I don't know, the band leader.
Or band instructor.
He said, listen, if you fall off key, it's okay. Hold and catch back on. Just let everybody keep going, then you catch back on. Like, don't panic. As soon as it starts, I go off key. My heart, panic. So I just stop and I just fake it for a minute. and the music, the other saxophonists, they're killing it. So now I'm just faking it. Boom, and now I'm just getting into it. I could see my dad and his face lit up, because to him, he's the one that told me to play the sax. He's like, no, like, women really like saxophone players. It's a sexy thing.
That's what they say.
Yeah. I'm like, me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he's like, dude, we lived in New York. He's like, look, you go up on the roof. Like, in his head, it was like a movie. Like, I'd be playing on the roof, and like women from all around New York City were going to be like, where's that beautiful sound coming from? So I'm seeing the pride in his face, and I'm faking it. The whole concert goes, I never played one note. I faked it the whole time.
Wow.
Standing ovation. My dad said, that's my son. He's yelling. We get to my house after. All the family's there. He has all the cold cut, Italian prosciutto, everything out. And I go in my room. I start crying. So he comes in the room. He goes, yo, what's the matter? I'm crying. I go, just leave me alone. And he goes, what's wrong with you? Everybody's outside. I bought all the stuff. We're celebrating you. I go, just leave me alone. He goes, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm a fake. And he goes, what are you talking about? You were great up there. You were outstanding. I go, I didn't play one note. I faked the whole thing. I was scared. So he sat there and he looked at me and he goes, all right. So you faked it better than anybody up there. Get outside. The whole family's out there. And I took that. I went outside. Everybody's clapping for me. And only I told my dad I faked it. But I learned something that day. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Right. Now, the story would have been cool if I went back to school and continued playing sax and became this great saxophonist. I never played again after that was it for me.
But that's still a great story.
Right?
And what your dad said to you resonated with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gave you confidence to move on.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes in life you just I think it's important for a lot of us. It's just you're not always going to be great at anything, or especially in the beginning. Right. And sometimes you just gotta walk it like you're great. I think behind that you need to do the work and continue to be,
Absolutely.
But in the beginning, sometimes you just gotta see it. If you think you're gonna be the strongest guy in the gym, well, you gotta believe it first. You might not want to go in and squat, 800 pounds your first day, but you gotta see it, that maybe you gotta go get that gym outfit and get that and walk it like you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, and eventually you're gonna get those results. So but enough of me. Let's get into Scotty. So you're from New York, dude. Tell me about where you grew up. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Lower Westchester, which is I guess it's like 25 minutes north of Manhattan. So it's like 5 minutes north of the Bronx. I grew up in the town of Eastchester.
Got it. By Yonkers? Is that out
yes,
by? Yes. Okay, got it.
Exactly. That's pretty much home. And, it was, growing up, it was a very blue-collar town. People were, they worked very hard and very traditional, mostly middle class. So it was. I had a wonderful childhood.
Cool. Yeah.
3 older brothers, great parents. I learned so much from my brothers growing up. Being the youngest in the family. I loved where I grew up. It's there's a lot of breathing room, a lot of trees, a lot of grass.
Beautiful.
And it's a pretty small town. Everybody knows everybody.
Sure.
So there's pros and cons to that.
Right.
But for the most part, it was very healthy.
Yeah. Did you grow up with an artist family, or were you?
Very good question. So I learned later on. I think after I started playing guitar, which I think was around 16 years old. I learned that my dad, he played the accordion for a little while when he was a kid.
Your father's Italian.
Yeah.
Accordion, that's classic.
Yeah, classic Italian instrument. And then my mom said that she did some dancing as well. So And then my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, I think he fiddled around with the guitar as well. So as far as professionally, I think I'm the only one that pursued it that way. But I think it comes from my parents and,
Very cultural too. Italians. My grandmother was a singer. She didn't pursue it professionally, but she would sing at all the function. But I mean, a tremendous singer. Like I don't like. She was really amazing, and she belonged to like the organization called the ICF, the Italian Catholic Federation.
Okay,
it was a big deal back in the day. Not as much today.
Yeah.
I mean, but she immigrated here, and it was a big organization. So growing up as a kid, I would go to the functions, and she would sing, and a lot of the men would play accordion, and a lot of Italian culture. There's a lot of art in culture, in the culture, singing and talent. But I know what you mean. But professionally, a lot of I think our grandparents and stuff went into labor jobs, blue collar jobs, and they came for the American dream. They weren't really pursuing so much stuff like acting. And my grandfather was in the Little Rascals in a couple episodes.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I used to love that show. Growing up.
He was in a couple episodes of Little Rascal. He also we just at Thanksgiving watched on YouTube an old movie he did with Bing Crosby. He was a kid tap dancer in it, but he's in a few scenes and has some speaking role. But it wasn't something he pursued professionally. Like he did it as a kid, and he was a tap dancer. But then he got into photography, is what his love was, and he became a photographer. He took Sophia Loren's Oscar picture. I have it at my house framed. Wow. Yeah, that was a big deal. He took pictures of Marilyn Monroe. Pretty awesome. And then he opened his own studio. He moved out west here and opened the studio. And he passed away in the 70s. But yeah, he was a photographer. And, but anyways, going back to, I feel like
Italians are so passionate.
Right? I think in the culture.
Passionate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all part of the culture. There's a lot of art, a lot of many things. I mean, my favorite actors, happen to be Al Pacino, and so
those guys are on like a whole nother level. Marlon Brando, dude, God rest his soul.
I love all of it. But so your family, same. They got more into working, but they would do these things. They still had these talents, and you weren't aware of it. But then you pursued it. You decided to make that decision.
Yeah.
How'd you make the decision? Was that a hard? What were you doing at the time? Like when you really found out, like, I love playing music. What were you doing back home? Were you in school?
Oh gosh, I feel like. This is such a hard question for me to answer because I discover new things as I start remembering things that I didn't know prior.
Yeah.
Each time I get asked this question. But I think having 3 older brothers, listening to their vinyl records and cassette tapes growing up, Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, which eventually became the catalyst for me picking up the guitar, the song Dream On.
I have it on my playlist, my workout playlist. That's awesome.
Pink Floyd, The Doors, even like old school rap, like Run DMC.
Yeah,
the Beastie
Boys. Yeah.
That rubbed off on me, LL Cool J, and like Bob Marley and the Wailers. Everything that they were listening to, I started listening to. Because it's like what the little brother does, right? You know? Kind of follow what the older brothers do.
Yeah.
And, we were all athletes growing up. We played football, baseball. I played in some championship games. And, even today, I approach my music like an athlete because at heart, that's who I really am.
Yeah, with that discipline. And
yeah, teamwork and just wanting to go after it, chase a dream and and just kind of learn as you go and grow. It's an amazing journey. You learn so much about yourself. And I think that's one of the benefits of the arts. Like, I think it teaches you something about yourself outside of other professions.
Yeah. A lot of like self-discovery.
Yes.
As an artist, I mean, you're focusing so much on creating from inside.
Right.
And that's one thing all the art forms seem to have, whether you're painting, whether you're acting, writing, playing, you're constantly on a daily basis doing like self-inventories. I guess to bring that song out, you're inside, or to bring the script alive, you're constantly coming from an internal place.
Yes.
So you discover a lot about yourself, or how you see the world, or
Yeah. I couldn't put it better myself. It's amazing how you start with an idea, and then it just blossoms into this thing, this entity, whether it's writing a script or a song or a painting. When you really just let yourself go, and even at times be vulnerable and just let people into your life, the message comes through clearer.
Yeah.
Because you're welcoming people into your life, into what you're trying to say, and your intention is always good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I just want my art, albeit music or movies or writing, to be a catharsis for people, to heal.
Yeah.
Because we all go through tumultuous times, and I think art is a healer.
Absolutely. Now, what age were you when you decided, like, I'm gonna pursue music? And
let's see. So I went to Woodstock '99.
In Rome, New York?
Yes.
I was up there.
Were you really?
I was.
See, we have a lot in common.
I was up there. Yeah. I was up there. I was in a lot of trouble, so I was in Rome, New York.
Okay.
But I was in trouble at the time.
All
I
right.
hadn't straightened my life out yet.
Okay.
So I had to go up yeah. We'll talk a little bit. But Woodstock was crazy. Did you see DMX?
Yes.
DMX was nuts, right?
Oh, wow. He was electrifying.
They say that's one of the best performances ever. Like,
yeah. I mean, the whole 3 days that I was there.
You were there for the whole 3 days? So for the
All three.
riots and everything?
Everything.
Oh, wow.
My friends and I were there for everything, and it was just... It was an amazing experience, but it was also scary at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
those fires and...
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of crazy. They did like a documentary on it now.
They did, and I watched the documentary, and they did a very good job of that, because
Yeah.
that was pretty accurate.
Yeah, I was working at Sylvan Beach Amusement Park at the time, which is about 40 minutes north of Rome.
Okay.
There's a little community called Sylvan Beach, and I was working there. I went up. I had to spend 6 months up there, and my father, coincidentally, has a house he bought years ago. My dad used to go up there as a Fresh Air Fund kid, and I don't know if you're familiar with Fresh Air Fund. So Fresh Air Fund is for poor New York City kids.
Okay.
It's for inner city youth. And when my dad was growing up, he was poor. I mean, we're like generations in our neighborhood in New York City. And he went up there. The Fresh Air Fund was they would take city kids, send them upstate New York, and families would adopt them, not legally adopt them. They'd take them for the summer. And they would teach them how to milk cows and bale hay. And my dad went up one year, and the family didn't show up. So they were going to send him back on the train. He was the only kid. The family didn't show up for him. So he's sitting there on his suitcase. And another family, Stanley Turk, the Turk family, incredible man. He's passed on a while ago. But Stanley and his wife said, hey, what's going on with that kid? And they said, what, the family didn't show up. We're going to send him back down to the city. And he said, no, we'll take him with the other kid. We'll take both of them. It's fine. And that guy became like a second dad to my dad. And
Wow.
My dad went up every year after that and did Fresh Air Front. Ended up buying the house from Stanley. When Stanley's wife passed, Stanley remarried and bought a new house, and my dad bought this old dairy farm. This when I was a kid, and we would go up and spend summers up there. So I had gotten a little bit of trouble, Woodstock 99, and I went up to stay at my dad's for 6 months to kind of had to clear, get some time to just get away for a while and reevaluate my life. And that's why I was up there. So Rome is 40 minutes from there. So this program I was doing was in Rome, right outside of where Woodstock was. So I couldn't go in because I had just got sober, and I was literally 1 month sober when Woodstock happened. So I was in no place to actually go in. So I was doing like AA meetings right there in Rome, like right outside where you guys were like tearing it down and having the time of your life. I was in AA meetings 3 times a day, sitting there like, hi, my name's Paul. I'm an alcoholic. And I was young. I wasn't even 21 yet. I was 20.
Yeah.
I got sober.
I was the same age. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys were having the time of your life. I had already burnt out my life. I've been sober since.
God bless you.
25 years, dude.
Good for you.
But damn, Woodstock. Tell me about it, dude. What was your favorite part? What was the best performance there?
So we saw so many acts, so many bands. There were 2 stages. There was the main stage, and then there was like the other stage. I think that was more. It wasn't far. Like they weren't far from each other. It was like the second stage. For me, I saw Bush, I saw Live, I saw Jewel, I saw Sheryl Crow.
Were the Chili Peppers there?
Chili Peppers there. Metallica, Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, that's when Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock were like huge. Yeah, that's right.
That was both exciting and scary, because I think the lineup was it was like Kid Rock, I think, then Limp Bizkit, then Rage Against the Machine, and then Metallica. I think that was all in one day.
Metallica, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was. I had never seen anything like that in my life.
That's what sparked it for you? Like, I got to do this, or?
Yeah. So I saw on the other stage. I saw a Canadian rock band called Our Lady Peace, and I was listening to them a lot back then. I still do. Like, they're one of my favorite bands. And I was watching their performance. It was the first time I've seen them live, so I was very excited. And I was so inspired by their performance, how they just came out. And, Rain Maida, the singer, who I actually talked to today.
Nice.
He's given me some really solid advice recently when I spoke to him over the phone. He's a great guy, great musician. I saw him up there, and then I saw the rest of the band, and I'm like, okay. They weren't like jumping around or being crazy or like doing like a David Lee Roth, Van Halen kind of thing. They were just singing songs, and making an impact on the audience. And because I would look around and observe, and I'm like, wow, everybody's so into this. And they were a rock band,
Yeah.
They had a natural rock sound to their music, but it just inspired me so much. I'm like, I know I can do that.
Wow.
I know I can do that. And at that time, my brother-in-law, Johnny Andriani, he's a musician, terrific musician. I saw him play live for the first time around that time. I think I was 16. I think my brother and my sister-in-law snuck me into the place where he was playing because I was too young. And, I watched him play. And, again, I was just like, I think I can do this. Like, it's just kind of calling to me to do it.
Wow.
The music, the whole message behind it. What they were trying to say with their music and what any musician is trying to say. It just kind of called to me. So to go back to Woodstock '99, Our Lady Peace was a huge catalyst for me. And then when I saw Bush, that was also very inspiring because they were like the it band at that time, Like I'm sure like when we were in high school, Glycerine and all that whole 16 Stone album was just amazing. So I remember sitting on the pavement, right? Because it was an old air base, I think.
Yeah, Air Force Base.
Yeah. And, there's like, I don't know, 250,000 plus people.
Yeah, $100 for a bottle of water. No,
yeah, yeah, and I think that's really.
But it was crazy. It was like
$5-6 for a bottle of water.
Yeah, it was something back then.
Yeah,
$99, $5, like.
So I just remember sitting on the pavement and having a moment, like after seeing these shows, these performances, and I just kind of said to myself, okay, this is what I want to do.
Wow. So it was like so you visualized it. For anyone listening that has that moment, I just want to be clear for people who are listening that are, you have that, like, whatever the profession is, whatever be a lawyer, be a mechanic, whatever it is that you're like, I could do this. And it inspires you. It's something you want to do. So that was the moment I mean, there's a lot of moments that lead,
right?
But that's the like you literally were like, I can do this. I can be on a stage like that.
Yes.
And
I think I had did I do? No, I hadn't performed live yet.
Wow.
I had not performed live yet. But that was where I made a commitment to myself that, okay, this is what I want to do the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to be a rock star, I think is what I said at that time. And then, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. But to be a singer-songwriter, a musician, to have longevity, I think is even better.
Well, I love you just said that. I think that's when I took my first acting class, I thought I could be Vin Diesel. I could be a sex symbol, in my mind. Clearly that didn't happen. But what did happen is whatever sparks you, and it wasn't Vin Diesel that sparked me to be, but I'm saying like I would see him be like, I could be in like a Fast and Furious in my mind.
Because he was cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Buff, bald, like super cool.
Got the voice
chain,
too.
The voice, and it was like, I could do this. My point I'm getting at is I'm no Vin Diesel, but when whatever inspires you, you see somebody doing what you relate to. So let's just use acting because we're talking about, the real actors that I did aspire, that I wanted to be like, were Al Pacino, sure. Robert De Niro, James Gandolfini. I definitely studied these actors before becoming an actor, but I would watch everything they've done and be like, I think I could do, I want to do that. Then as you get into it, you realize how incredible they are. Right. I think like you're saying, like it's like I want to be a rock star, but it makes you also, as you actually get into it, appreciate how great the greats are. Because before you're in the craft, you don't really know how great Denzel is till you do it and you're like, oh, they're good. You know what I mean? Like there's so much more to this than just being in front of a camera and acting tough. It's like there's so much script analysis and what they're doing with lines and beats and the rhythms of a script and
technique craft,
and breath work and so much goes into it. And I think as we get into it, like you said, now it's time I don't think of those things anymore. Like I want to be famous. I mean, that'd be great. I wouldn't mind having a bunch of money and being called to do Scorsese movies. But what I'm saying is that's probably never going to happen. But what I have learned is I'm getting better every day at actually crafting.
That's great. I love that.
See what I mean? Like it's exactly what you were just saying. That's why I said I love it. It's the goal is no matter what. It's like even in sports, right? It's like Kobe or LeBron or Michael Jordan, whoever your all-time favorite is, may be the reason you pick up a basketball. Could be your dad, it could be an uncle, could be your mom, could be whoever. There's a reason you started playing, then there's someone you're looking at going, man, you're mesmerized by, I'm just going to use Jordan because it's my era. You're watching Michael Jordan, you're like, man, this is unbelievable. And then you're out in the park, trying to emulate him.
Absolutely.
And then you maybe do go to school and make a team or get a scholarship. And maybe you're never going to be Jordan. But every day the goal is you start getting better at your dribble and your crossover. And, it's just whatever it is you love and you pursue, it's not the destination. I think we should strive to be great and be inspired by greats. But the key is to make it your own and get good at what they do.
Yes.
Yes. So I like that you said, I think that's what matters at the end of the day. But we all want, it'd be great. Like, I hope I see you up there rocking, in front of 20,000 people,
It's on my list.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if it's just for the crowds I've seen you rock in front of, like, you're doing it. You're writing it. You're making it. You're doing it. And that's amazing. I think that's incredible.
You as well. I'm proud of all of your achievements.
Oh, thanks, man.
As a filmmaker, as a director.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what comes next for you.
Yeah. Well, one day at a time. Like, you know what? Just getting better. I just did that play. You got to come out, and that was great to be able to work on. And
that was wonderful.
And even that starting that was a 3-month process, right? Of rehearsal to performance. And, just I'm better for doing it. But speaking of, we can do things sometimes. Like, there's a saying, like, you're always going to get better every time you do something. Do you believe that to be true? Or do you believe it to be true that you have to be very careful, too, not to get complacent in your creating and make sure you're pushing yourself? It's like at the gym. You could just lift 20s every day for 10 years.
Yeah.
But you got to progressively get stronger and add weight and get better. There's a lot of work to the growth.
Yeah, I think what you say right there is very true. I think it's important as artists not to get complacent.
Yeah.
To constantly step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself that way, because I think in those moments where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. This makes me feel uncomfortable, or I don't know, I'm kind of scared. I think that's where your greatest work, your greatest ideas, like, spark.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's like, even if it doesn't work out, when you stretch yourself, it's like I went to document a race for somebody, and it was this incredible race that this person was doing, almost like subhuman to finish, and the person didn't finish. They were stopped, disqualified right at the end, and this was a 17-hour race, and just physical, running, swimming, biking. And we were documenting the whole thing. And this person was stopped. They were like, you're not going to make the cutoff. It was just, I imagined it being the most devastating thing for this athlete. All this work, a year of training every single day to get here. And he looked. I interviewed him right away, right on the spot. Didn't even give him time. Like, how do you feel, man? And he looked at me, and he was just sweating, and he beat up. This was like in hour 16, almost 17. And he goes, he had like a little tear in his eye. He goes, wow, that was disappointing, so close to the finish line. But I just got to get back to the drawing board to get back here next year to figure out how I could have saved a little more time on my transitions. And I'm like, bro, that's the most professional. Like, not like I worked so hard. It was like, man, that was disappointing. I just got to a year of training, and Yeah, I learned right there that, you know what? You're not always going to succeed on anything.
Right.
The success is in the attempt. And all you could control in the attempt is proper training, proper work. So if we're talking fitness or running a marathon, it's, are you stretching? Are you training the right way? Are you eating the right stuff? Are you working the right muscles in your workouts? Are
Right.
you with the right coaches? And every level is different. If you're just running a local marathon in your community, that's fine. Maybe you don't need to do. But when you get into like, you're doing Kona, an Ironman in Kona, it's like, only the best of the best are there. You gotta
Right.
so it's the same in what we're doing, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, not every project that I step out of my comfort zone into doing, I'm successful at. My success is in the fact that I did it, and what did I learn? So that's what I get when people say it's never a failure, if you look at it that way. Because some people just only want to, oh, I didn't finish, so it's not a success. It's like, but what'd you learn in that process?
That's it right there, Paul.
Right?
Yeah. That's what it's all about. What did you learn? How you look at it is very important. And what made you grow from that experience?
Yeah.
And the fact that you got in the habit and just tried.
Yeah.
I think that's success in itself.
Just trying.
Just trying. Like you trained hard for it, and you did everything you could. Okay, yeah, maybe you fell short, if that's the way you want to look at it. But what did you learn from it? How much did you grow from that experience? And then, you move on to the next thing, the next tier.
Yeah.
Based on that experience, what you learned, and you kind of just bring it on over to the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the saxophone. Fake it till you make it. If I wanted to be a great saxophonist, is that what it would be called?
Yeah.
Sax player, I would have took that, faking it, and then went back in the next day and learned the keys and kept going. But I didn't have the inspiration to do that. I didn't really want to play. I was only playing because my dad said that the girls would like me more if I was playing a saxophone, which I should have played the drums or something. Anyways, I don't
Drums
think
are
that
cool
was true.
too.
Drums, I think, are cooler. But
Yeah.
anyways, but what I did take was that lesson, and I have incorporated that in I've walked into many corporate meetings, board meetings with educated people, and had to present business plans in front of them for ideas I've had. To get funding for scripts to make a movie. I've had to go in front of people, and I'll be honest, all I did was talk with passion. I don't know nothing about distribution and numbers and how, and a lot of those meetings went my way, some didn't. So
Right.
what I've learned is, even if I don't know, I'm going to walk with the confidence that I do know. There's a difference of lying to people and walking with confidence. I'll always tell people I'm not too versed in that, but I will try to learn it. But this is what I
Right.
can tell you. This is the script. This is what I could cast. This is what I could shoot. This is what I could deliver. And I think that one little lesson as a kid has taught me that, to have confidence even in an area that I'm unfamiliar with. And that could go a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Confidence is a major factor in life. How you carry yourself, how you are around people, and it's not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
I think we're going to fail more than we're going to succeed.
Of course.
But maybe you look at the failure as success. And if you do, then you're always succeeding.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So let's talk about where you're at now. So you write your music?
Yes.
You write your music, you write the lyrics, everything. That's so amazing. You're gigging. How do you get by? For the artist that's out there that wants to do this, what is it like for the person that's not signed to a label and touring the world and making millions of dollars. And what is it like to get by? Do you have side hustles? Do you work? And how does that? Tell me a little bit about all that. How do you get your gigs?
Great question. So as an independent artist like myself, who's not signed, doesn't have any representation yet, I do have a survival job. I drive Uber, I drive Lyft. Sometimes I do Uber Eats. I think some freelance jobs are good too.
Yeah.
I worked for Warner Brothers for like a couple of weeks in the summer, my first year out in LA. I think it was back in 2021. I mean, you do what you can.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Keep your time flexible. You got to stay flexible.
Very flexible, yes.
Yeah.
This way you have, you have time to write, you have time to record, you have time to book your own shows.
Yeah.
And then eventually play them.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into a situation or a job that's completely draining. It's taking away too many hours of your life or just kind of draining your soul where you don't have enough inspiration or enough energy to create. That's why I like driving, because it's very flexible and you meet so many people.
Yeah.
You meet all walks of life.
Yeah.
I've met a ton of people in entertainment, but I've also met a ton of people outside of entertainment who were just, who were just great.
Yeah, absolutely. I drove Lyft for years, and I promise, I was just yesterday at the gym. Mm-hmm. No joke. This guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Paul, man, Paul Tully." Right? I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Christian, man, you don't remember me?" I said, "Oh, man, those moments." I'm like, "I'm sorry, man." So, dude, we met in your Lyft.
Wow.
6 years ago. I said,
Look
"Really?"
at that. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, dang, you remember me? What it is? He said, "Oh, dude, I follow you on Instagram." I said, "Oh," and he's like, "Dude, congrats. You were telling me." Like I was, because I would pick people up and just pitch any project I was doing. Mm-hmm. "Hey, man, I'm doing a play." I'd give them a flyer.
I've done that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Invited them to the shows.
I loved it. I mean, I didn't love driving Lyft, but what I'm saying is, it was a job that worked for our industry. As an actor. Like I said, I'm doing plays all the time. I'm handing people flyers. I've had people, and people would follow me on social media. Like, I'd be like, "Yeah, follow me on Instagram." They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm following the Lyft driver." And then, as projects would, sometimes they'd come to a show. They'd bring their, date. They'd be like, "Dude, this was cool," And then when my movie came out, I had been pitching that movie from inception. I'd be driving people like, "Yeah, I just wrote a script." They'd be, "Oh, yeah, what's it about?" And I'm like, because in LA, sometimes everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm a producer. I'm a this." So I'd be like, "Oh, by the way, I have a script, a screenplay." They'd be like, "Oh, yeah?" And I just, while we're driving, they're probably like, "Dude, let me put my headphones on." I'd be pitching my script. "Yeah, it's about this neo-Nazi low-level meth dealer who falls in love with this African-American woman." They're like, "Dude, this guy's out of his mind. I'm their Lyft driver, Then when my movie got made and like Mickey Rourke said, people would hit me up on social media like, "Yo, I was in your Lyft. Is this the movie you were talking about?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, man."
And you said you weren't famous.
No. Yeah, I wish. No. But I mean, so what I'm saying is, for you too is, I mean, you probably already do this, or for anybody out there driving Lyft or Uber, and you're an artist especially, but it don't matter. Whatever you do, that's networking. Mm-hmm. You're literally getting paid to pick people up, drive them to the location. That's an opportunity to get a social media follower, follow them back, keep up with each other, pitch your projects. So
exactly.
Bro, I've maximized everything I do. So when I was driving Lyft, I was maximizing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I love your spirit.
You got to have that hunger. I know one of our mutual friends, two of our mutual friends. One was a pizza. Remember? So Jeremy and Liam were telling me back in the day. This is like when early 2000s. Jeremy would deliver. He would have Liam go in with pizzas to casting directors. And Jeremy would staple his headshot on the top of the pizza box. So at first I didn't get. I'm like, wait, what
Why
do you
couldn't
mean?
I think of that?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's genius.
It
He's like,
is.
dude, I used to do that all the time. I'd see what they were casting, and if it was something I fit, I would set. Or I'm like, oh wait, I thought you worked at the pizza place. Like, no, I would order them a pizza, and then I'd tell Liam, here, dude, you go in and deliver this to the casting office, and he'd staple his headshot with his resume and a note, and he'd be like, hey, this was sent to you by Jeremy, you know. And I'm like, bro, that's brilliant. And I'm
really
like, did
is.
it ever work? He's like, nah. Actually, like 3 times he booked a couple little things, or he got brought into the office for auditions. So it wasn't like he booked because of that, but he
got
said
brought
like 3
in.
times out of maybe 100. But hey, 100 pizzas, $10 a pizza, that's $1,000. You booked 3 jobs.
The
You
numbers don't
tripled
lie.
that number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you tripled that in your pay. So it worked.
It worked.
So whatever you can do, you know. Okay, so you're booking your gigs. So that, I mean, a lot of that comes with a lot of work, right? So you go to venues, you tell them, look, I mean, how does that work? I'm assuming, because I used to do that myself with some of my plays.
Right. So specifically in LA, everything's mostly done through email.
Okay.
So you email the talent buyer of the venue. You know, you find the information online, or you find it through word of mouth, or through like other bands that you're friends with, and you send them an email with a link to your songs and you know past shows that you've done in LA, and you know you wait for a response, and then you follow up when you need to. I spent the last 2.5 years doing like the whole rites of passage thing in LA. Like you play the Whiskey A Go Go, you play the Viper Room.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Like, how does that work for like Troubadour and these plays? Like, I had a friend, she invited me, I went to see her at the Troubadour, and I was like, wow, this is like an iconic. I didn't know anything about it until
So cool
I was there. And I was
Yeah.
like, dang, this is like iconic.
Yeah.
So how do you go about getting those? Is that word of mouth or?
I think so. The Troubadour is definitely on my list to play. I haven't played there yet, but I think with a venue like that, you could probably find like an email address for the talent buyer.
Okay.
They may not get back to you immediately, or they may not get back to you at all. But I think for a place like that, the best thing to do, and I think this is not just the Troubadour, but any place.
Yeah, any.
I think you should just start going to those places and watching shows.
Okay.
And making friends, and you know, talking to the guys at the door, and just kind of like just getting friendly, and just, you know, building a community of friends and musicians that you could become allies with, and you know, put your own shows together, and then eventually play at like the Troubadour or wherever it is that you want to play, just based on who you meet and who you become friends with. I think the more you hang out at venues, the more you're kind of in that circuit, the better.
Okay.
Yeah, the better your opportunities.
So it's kind of like the acting world. It's just getting out there, meeting people.
Right.
Jobs lead to jobs, and word of mouth, and you know, it's not like you just walk off the street and go perform at the Troubadour.
Right,
I mean,
right.
It's kind of, and then so Whiskey A Go Go, these iconic the Rainbow
Bar
Room,
and Grill,
Rainbow
yeah.
Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
Same thing. You just get to know them. Is it? Can you like say you have a good following, but they don't know you, but you're like, listen, I you know, is there a way to get a gig there and just
Good
like
question.
sell the door, and is there like a split they could do, stuff like that?
So I think for places like the Roxy and maybe the Rainbow, you have to be referred.
Okay.
Or they have to go to a place like the Whiskey A Go Go and see you perform and see your draw. You know, if it's a lot of people, obviously that's going to be attractive enough to them where they'll approach you and say, you know what, we have a spot on this particular night. Loved what you did tonight. How would you guys like to play?
Wow, cool.
Yeah. So like some places are on referral like that.
Now, how does that work? Do they pay you just for coming in, or is it how would you like to play, and then it's still a split?
I
Or
think I think it's a split at the door.
okay,
Most of the time.
so you're still hustling no matter what.
Yeah.
You're grinding to get people. It's like us with theater.
Yes.
Very similar.
Very similar.
It's like
very
we're
similar.
putting up a play,
Yeah.
but we still gotta like. Sometimes the theater might do right there. I did, I've done it different ways. Sometimes I've been asked to do plays at places, like we want your production here, and then it's a split, but we still gotta help pack it. It's like,
Right.
and then you could just go audition and get cast at a play, and you don't have to do none of that. But I mean, but I'm always producing. 95% of the time producing my own stuff.
Yeah.
Indie all the way. I rarely, whether it's a
Love that.
film, whether it's, I want my hands and my creative decisions in everything,
Yes.
because if I fail, I want to know that I failed or I had a big part of it, not you failed and
Right.
my name's on it.
Right.
Like that's like disastrous, I feel.
You
for
want to take
us.
accountability for everything.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. It's different if I've done TV shows and stuff as an actor, small roles here and there, films that, I had no creative control, but they also paid me really well just to come do the part.
Sure, yeah.
But when you're doing like theater, that's what I love about theater. It's like, unless I'm out in New York and I start auditioning for Broadway, that's different. I mean, obviously, you're getting paid well and you go, but you know, when you're doing these off Broadway productions, you want to have some say so in what the set looks like and what the sound look. You want to have some. I feel it's the same with music. It's like being an independent artist. You have control over your sound. Right?
Yes, you do. And I'm pretty much where you're at right now, like producing your own shows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing now. Like the show that you came to at the bowling alley
Yeah.
at Corbin Bowl. That was a show that I produced with friends of mine.
It's awesome.
And that's where I'm at right now. I'd like to do maybe 4 of those a year, like 4 big shows, produced shows, and just make it fun. Invite friends who are in bands to be part of the bill and align with causes like Toys for Tots and Africa Active and other nonprofit companies, and have some really cool raffles and just make it like really fun. Like
and like you said, it was music. It was, you were playing music. There wasn't like, like a big not that there's anything wrong with that, but you weren't jumping across the stage or, eating a bat's head, old school Aussie, but you just doing music and you raised, there was like a toy drive. You guys had raffles. You did everything for charity. It was really a nice night and got to hear some good music, which is different than going to, I guess it just depends. Like, I guess what I'm also getting at is, how do you make what you're doing, excuse me, and this is for all of us,
sure,
filmmakers, anything, again, any business, you own a gym, how do you make your gym different? I guess that's like, how do you make what you're doing different than what all the other musicians are out here doing? Right? I guess that's
yeah.
Have you found that yet, or are you still finding that?
I think that's a process in itself. My mentor has been teaching me, be of service to people, give back, because I think that's what's been missing the most in my whole journey as an artist. Just to do more of that. I think you're talking about it being different, like how can you stand out? I get that part, but I think if you give back, you'll find the answer to that. Because your intention is good. It's coming from a really good place, and art is meant to be shared.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. It's just meant to be that way. It's not something that we particularly own. You know,
Right.
I happen to believe all of the music that I've been blessed with comes from God. You know, I'm just a messenger.
Yeah.
So nothing belongs to me. Whatever
like
I
that.
do artistically does not belong to me. It belongs to God.
I like that. So let's say it's in the plans for you to be a rock star. Great. You're selling out. You're touring with, the biggest names. But are you also open to, let's say you develop a nice rep around town and, you have your own LLC and you're touring and you're doing weddings and you're doing whatever, bar mitzvahs, and you're doing, is there a difference for you there? As long as people are inspired by your work, or is it still, I gotta sell out these arenas? Is that the goal?
Take a moment to answer this one. So I definitely want to do 4 shows a year where I produce and put bills together with my friends. But there's a fire that burns inside of me to want to play those bigger venues, those huge festivals where there's like over 100,000 people over in Europe and here, and play the Forum, play Madison Square Garden. That still burns inside of me.
Yeah.
And to get to those places, I think you have to really do your own thing, like produce your own shows, but you have to be willing to make enough noise where there might be a band who's already on tour, who has a big following, will invite you on that tour with you.
Gotcha.
So I think it's like mix and match, right?
Yeah.
You do a little of everything to try and get there. So right now, that's my plan. It's definitely to keep doing my own shows, but also to try and get on like a really big tour.
Yeah.
And try and fulfill that dream.
Sure.
And then eventually you become the tour. Like
Yeah,
you're the
yeah.
main act, and you're inviting
Yeah.
other bands to come onto your bill, which kind of comes full circle to what I'm doing now, producing my own shows.
Yeah.
Just at like an independent level.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
If that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. I guess last question on that, and then we'll start the wrap, is the dream to do the Madison Square Gardens and the big arenas. Is it to get your music across to 1,000 people in one room?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that more just for your own, the adrenaline of having 1,000 or 100,000 people in front of you? So in other words, if I said you can do, let's just say we had a crystal ball. You're
Okay.
going to do one Woodstock, one for 100,000 people, and you're never going to perform again. Or you could do 5,000 weddings across the country, and that's going to be more than 100,000 people. Or no, the same. It's 100,000 people in one arena or 100,000 people at weddings and birthdays. You're still reaching 100,000 people with the gift of God.
Mm-hmm.
Which one matters more for you?
I think in the long run, because if you ask me this question 10 years from now or 20 years from now, I think it would be like with the weddings and the bar mitzvahs and the parties and private events, whatever. I think it would be that way because I feel like I could get through to people more. I can impact them more on like an intimate level. Really get to their hearts, and I think they would understand the messages that I'm trying to sing to them. It all comes from love.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you would also play a lot more.
Yes.
You would also I think that's what I was trying to get at.
That's a great question.
You would, the
Great
reason I asked
question.
that, it's like an actor. It's like saying, okay, if I told you you could be in a Scorsese movie, one shot, you're going to be in an Oscar-nominated movie. You're going to work with the best. Or you could do thousands of indie movies, but you're going to get seen by, let's just say, the same amount of people. I think it just depends, right? Like some people might go, bro, just give me that $100,000 Madison Square Garden and I'll wrap it up. I'll hang the guitar up and I'll find another passion. That's what I need, that rush. I need what I saw when I saw Bush at Woodstock. I want that just once.
Right.
Or it's like, no, I just love doing what I'm doing. And whether it's for 50 people, I mean, the goal is to get there no matter what.
Sure, yeah.
But, I guess what I'm trying to say is whether it's for 50 people tonight or 1,000 people tonight, I'm playing and I'm doing what I love.
Yes.
And I think that's why I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It was just like, I was thinking of it myself as I'm asking you, like, dang, what about me? What am I? Like, I do this podcast. I think we're at about 10,000 subscribers. Do I want to be at 1.5 million subscribers? That'd be great to know that right now. Let's say 10% of those I don't know what the percentage of people, I don't know the analytics right now, but let's say 10% of 1 million people, 100,000 people are going to watch this episode opposed to 1,000. It'd be great to have the 100,000, but
It would be. Yeah.
I'm just happy doing this with you.
Right.
Whether there's 2 people, I mean, I want it to be more, but whether it's 2 or 200,000, at the end of the day, I want to keep doing this.
Right.
Because I enjoy it. So I guess if I was answering that question, it was asked, I'd probably be like, give me the weddings, man. Give me the bar mitzvah, dude. I just want a gig, and I want to watch people have a good time, and I want to get my words through to them on their happiest day or their saddest day. Maybe I could uplift them for a minute.
Absolutely.
So I think that's also just a great way, if you didn't already think of it that way, to think about it, because I think as actors or musicians or filmmakers or podcasters or YouTubers, we get too caught up on the numbers of people that are watching instead of on the content that we're putting in it. Right. And this is for a message for anyone in life. If you're baking cakes for a living, you want to be, I don't know if this is right, Gordon Ramsay. I don't know if he bakes cakes. I don't know. But you want to be you want to be the biggest baker in the world. But you might just be baking a cake for a little kid's birthday party in your neighborhood that, that's going to be in their picture that their parents take forever. Their parents are going to look at that picture of their kid when they were 5, when their kid's now 40, and your cake's going to be in there. Right. How awesome is that? So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, keep doing what you're doing. Keep aiming for the sold-out arenas, but put that same passion in every gig you do, whether it's 2 of us out there or 200,000 of us. Just keep, like you said, this comes from God through you. You keep that same energy every time, man. And I think that nothing but success is going to come your way, man.
Thank you.
Dude.
That's beautiful, man.
Dude, no, it's great, man.
I really appreciate that.
I love meeting with people, especially artists, but
and you as well.
Yeah, man. Listen, before we close, what I like to do with every guest, Scott, I like you to look into that camera, your camera, and I like for someone out there that's listening, that relates with your message, that's thinking, man, maybe I could do this, maybe I could get out there and pursue my dream. What message would you give them?
I would say, if you have a burning desire to do something, anything, do it with good intention. Make sure that you're putting your heart and your soul into anything that you do, and try and do the best you can. You're going to win, you're going to lose, but I think the most important thing is to just keep going. And if you keep going, I think you always win.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, Scotty, thanks for coming out, man. I'm going to close us out
Thank
here.
you, brother.
Hey, everybody, this is
pleasure.
another episode of FYI. What a great episode. I love sitting here. I love talking with artists. You know, I love meeting with everybody that comes on the podcast. I truly learn something every single time. So here's a couple things I took out of this interview. Scotty talked about growing up, middle-class community, small town. Everybody knew each other. There were goods and bads to that. He talked about having a family, you know, he comes from an Italian family, and there was musicians and but none of them pursued it professionally. It was just something they did. It was something they loved, and he just kind of inherently found that. He found what he loves. He talked about going to Woodstock and Woodstock '99, very controversial event. But at that moment when he visualized and seen that band, I believe they were from, was it Australia?
Canada.
Canada, sorry. They're from Canada, and he saw this band, and he knew at that moment, like, this is something I want to do. You know, he said, I can do this. And he visualized it, and he made that decision that day that he was going to be a rock star. And he's been on the grind since. Come out to LA, he does what he has to do to get by, whether it's driving Lyft, Uber Eats, Uber. Listen, that's the sacrifice. You know, sometimes the jobs aren't glamorous, but you find what works and you make it work for what you're doing. You have a goal. How do you get to that goal? I'm on that right now with my fitness journey. You know, it's I visualize where I want to get, and now it's a day-to-day, moment-to-moment routine to get there. So, and you do what you got to do to get there, which means I got to sacrifice, you know, caloric things. I got to sacrifice the sweets. I got to go to the gym. And, you know, I'm rambling now. I just want to make sure that it's understood that it's okay to take a job to pay the bills that might not be your dream job. It is okay. It's more than okay. It's okay to go do what you have to do, you know, legally, to get by, to be able to pursue something greater. So go out there, see what it is you dream to do, make the sacrifices. You will get there. And remember, we won't always get to that destination that we dream. Sometimes that destination changes on the way there, and we find that what we actually want isn't that, but we got to at least attempt to get there to figure out what that real destination is going to be. If there is a destination, maybe it's just about the journey. So anyways, until next time, this is the FY Podcast. I'm Paul Tully. See you on the next one.
My father always said, son, gotta have patience. I always loved his cadence and his guidance. Work hard, take care of yourself, and always be safe, was his truth. The greatest man I ever knew. And every time I see a butterfly, I know it's you. And the sun bursts through the clouds, I know it's you. When an eagle flies high into the sky, I'll know it's you. The greatest man I ever knew. Every time I say, I know you're singing with me forever in my heart, in my soul. I know wherever I go, you are with me. You're an angel of heaven protecting our family, cheering me on like you always do. Show that a boy, Scotty, Thank you.
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
I wish I didn't have such a cold.
Oh, it sounded great.
That was great, man. It was
That was
great.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll have to do a part 2 one time and talk a little more about your dad. We didn't really get into that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
That was beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scotty.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.